each have 2 films, some of our faves of all time. We're going to do it as a bracket, as you can see behind me. In heat number 1 of our bracket royale, Silence of the Lambs moves on.
My favourite film of all time, which is 2001: A Space Odyssey. So 2001: A Space Odyssey.
After a very brief stalemate, Shutter Island moves on.
I am going to go for Mulholland Drive.
That's fair. That's all right.
Noah, you had me at Angelo Badalamenti.
Go on to our second round. So now we know everybody's films. Let's keep the debates to a shorter,
a reasonable time.
I've been thinking about this argument since Silence of the Lambs got through, and also 2001 was against it. So as soon as this head-to-head was decided, I had to formulate a very convincing argument, and I think I've got it. So hopefully it works. For 2001, when we were talking about it, we were discussing how it is as close to a perfect film as you can get. I think Silence of the Lambs is another film of that ilk. To me, I know it's not for a lot of people, but I think it is a fantastic film. A lot of people can attest to that. I think Silence of the Lambs works better for me because as 2001 has the themes and the production design and everything about it is fantastic. I think Silence of the Lambs does it one better by having quality of that caliber and making you care about what's happening in it. Because I can understand when someone watches 2001 and they say, I got a bit bored. Because obviously it's tackling quite a lot, but there are some people who watch it and be like, it's quite long, it's overdrawn, and it may not necessarily go over some people's heads, even though it will for quite a few, but it's, as I said with Men in Black, it's a bit less accessible. But with Silence of the Lambs, I feel like there's more of a human connection there isn't in 2001. It uses audio and sound design, and especially the score, to kind of breathe emotion into certain sequences. Because imagine the monkey bit with no noise. Imagine if it was just him going like that. It's like you'd be like, oh, okay, there's a monkey. And so as soon as you have that it's orchestral, have that orchestral music behind it, it makes it's such a grand event that it's like we are witnessing something amazing. But with Silence of the Lambs, you feel that through the acting and the dialogue and the characters, and you feel more of a connection because you understand what you're looking at a lot more compared to 2001, which is a bit more abstract in its presentation. So yeah, that's my argument there.
That's an awesome argument.
Yeah,
you can hear every single intonation of Anthony Hopkins' voice in each line. Like when you say a line from Silence of the Lambs, like that is exactly how he said it in your head.
It's true.
It's just like getting all the way to the FB.
I have to go now, Clarice. I'm having an old friend for dinner.
Oh, what an ending! I haven't even touched on the ending. I might do that in another.
Dr. Elector. Well, James made a very good point, which I would rebut, but I've spent the time doing Hannibal Lecter impressions instead of thinking about what I was going to say. So, Silence of the Lambs, obviously, it's got one of the greatest villains of all time. And it's got 2 of the greatest villains of all time. I think, let's be honest, let's be real here.
Buffalo Bill, fantastic, played by Ted Levine. Hannibal Lecter, of course, played by Anthony Hopkins. But, if we look at the annals of film history, I think if you said to a lot of people on that same top 10 list of best films of all time, for most people, HAL 9000 would be on there. And, we were saying earlier, I think one of us said the characters aren't quite there for me, or the narrative isn't quite there for me. But I think James described the film as cold earlier. Kubrick has a cold approach to characters, but they are not without their depth and emotion. I think the amount we learn about Frank Poole and Dave Bowman on that spaceship in minutes is absolutely incredible. And HAL 9000, Kubrick managed to give a robot a lot of character and a lot of life, far more than than any other film I think would have at that time. You know, robots had no personality before HAL 9000, who is a character. And when that robot's being shut down, for example, you feel sorry for him when he starts singing, you know, Daisy, Daisy, give me your answer, do. And I think Dave Bowman is a very interesting character too. He's a man on a mission away from his family. We see his wife in the next film, in fact. But anyway, and I think he's a really good. I think at the same time he's cold enough to be a great vessel for us as the audience, because we can kind of see ourselves as being him on that journey. I think Silence of the Lambs is a fantastic ride for 2 hours. I still think 2001 has that staying power. I think afterwards you're left thinking about it, dreaming about it, all these questions. And I just think as an experience, I would struggle to pick. No, I wouldn't struggle to pick. There are many images from Silence of the Lambs, if you're looking at the physical cinematography of it, that are great. You could pick any scene from 2001 and you would have a masterpiece of filmmaking in terms of I think the soundtrack is more memorable, with its, you know, to beautifully array classical music and contrast that to space travel. People are getting bored. I think is quite incredible. I don't know. Whatever your point was, James, I don't have a direct rebuttal because I still can't remember it. But
basically, I completely see what James is saying about the fact that, you know, sometimes people like watch 2001: A Space Odyssey and they think they're confused, or he made a really good point about the layers of the film, like not like thematically but like physically editing layers with like the sound and everything. And I think you're right, you take away a part of Silence of the Lambs here and there and you've still got the same sort of menacing story. So yeah. Noah, anything you want to add before we vote?
This is really hard. These two films have really stood the test of time in both respects.
You're up, buddy.
What's the best way to do this? Are we just going to vote again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to vote for Silence of the Lambs.
And Jimmy votes for 2001, I take it.
Yes.
Noah?
So it leaves me with me and Emma. I think it's got to be Mr. Kubrick's 2001. If I had to pick between the two, I'm sorry,
I think
James.
it's got to be Silence of the Lambs.
Right, okay.
30 seconds, based purely on only that 30-second debate, nothing else.
Yeah.
And Jimmy, you are going first this time.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay,
Right.
Jimbo, I'm gonna count you down.
Can I have like 5 seconds?
Nope.
All right, good.
You have 3. So 3, 2, 1.
I think every film student in the world should study 2001. It shows you what film can be, what film can do. Every kind of emotion is experienced throughout this film. If you want to learn about blocking, if you want to learn about cinematography, if you want to learn about screenwriting, if you want to just feel and expand your mind for 2 hours and 45 minutes, there is no greater work of art you could look at than 2001: A Space Odyssey. Thank you.
Fair enough. And Hammers.
Nicely done.
I'm gonna have to count myself in. This is gonna be quite difficult. All right. 3, 2, 1. So as I completely understand that Jimmy is saying that 2001 is a greater piece of art in of itself, if we're talking about the medium of film and movies, I believe Silence of the Lambs surpasses it in that aspect, mainly due to the fact that with the human connection you feel between every single one of these characters, whether you feel disgust or complete comfort and understanding of them, you understand why they're doing what they're doing and why this story is being told in the way that's being told. And I think it's great.
I bet that's really made it easier for you.
It's funny because Jimmy, you talked about the more like cinematography and the more like physical aspects of film, whereas James, you talked about the story. So in a way, it's kind of like, well, which
it's this versus this, isn't it?
That's my heart, by the way.
Noah, what are you thinking? Have you been swayed?
Not really. All right, Emma, think about it this way. The two films on the other side of the heat are both more story story based. We could make it interesting we could make it more interesting by going with a technical masterpiece versus a story sort of character narrative masterpiece in the final.
If we're talking about like what wins, I think Jimmy's argument, like talking about more filmmaking aspects. Yeah, fine. 2001.
Yeah. All right.
Yes!
Well done.
We have My Shutter Island versus Noah's Mulholland Drive. I mentioned back in the 30-second tiebreak about the atmosphere that Shutter Island creates. And I think when you think about genre films and when you think about this thrillery, atmosphere is so important. And this film does it right. It's difficult because we have two great directors now going head to head. We have David Lynch versus Martin Scorsese. But you've got to remember how divisive, obviously, David Lynch is, whereas Martin Scorsese is pretty much, not very divisive at all. He's pretty standard, good across the board. I do think that Shutter Island has some just pure amazing sequences in terms of the sound. The sound really helps create this atmosphere. And I think this is my main point on this side, because I don't want to repeat too much what I've said. The atmosphere is something that a film needs to portray to you to make you feel like you're there. Because if you miss those marks, you don't feel involved. Whereas I think within this film, you feel involved in the characters, in the narrative, and you're constantly guessing what's happened to, this person that's gone missing, what's going on in Teddy's mind, because we get glimpses here. So yeah, I think that's a brilliant film that should definitely make it through to the final. Sorry, I had to do that really, really quickly because I don't want my camera to die.
That was quick but concise and
Quick and concise is good. Good argument.
All right, yeah. So I actually think these films might be a little bit similar in so many aspects. When you mentioned about the characters and the narrative, it's all about them really. It's all about their journeys and what they're after and how that affects you as a viewer. And you also mentioned atmosphere. There is nobody better at atmosphere than David Lynch. And I do hear you say he is divided, but it's not about him. It's not about his films. We're on about Mulholland Drive specifically, which isn't necessarily a divided film. It's very well liked by most people. Critics like it. It got an Oscar nomination, I do believe. So this particular film isn't divided. And I don't think the past work of David Lynch should have anything to do with your judgment of Mulholland Drive, personally. It's about Shutter Island versus Mulholland Drive, not Scorsese versus...
You started off so strong.
Oh, what do you mean?
All right.
But no, you get my point. It's not about his other work. It's not about his other work. It's
although
about
if
this
you look at
specific
Mulholland
work.
Drive versus Shutter Island, which one are you going to watch and then turn to the person that you watch with and have like an extended conversation? Or are you going to turn to the person and be like, oh, that was a good film. Yeah, that was a good film. Whereas with Shutter Island, you're going to turn and you're going to say, what did you think of that? Did you see that coming? Which ending are you going for? Does this change X, Y, and Z?
I have something.
Mulholland Drive, you could literally talk about it for weeks.
I have something that I'm gonna say super briefly as to not, make this episode any over long than it needs to be. But I see what Emma was saying just then about once a film finishes, what the lasting impact of it can really affect how your viewing experience was as a whole. And I do believe that once you watch Shutter Island, from what I can remember anyway, I haven't seen it in a while. Once you watch Shutter Island the first time, it's the most impactful because of the twist. And then when you watch it a second time, it's like, oh, now I can pick up this is what this means. This is what this means. But after the third time, like where does the buck stop with that? How many times can you rewatch it and come up with new questions from it Whereas even though I'm not a big fan of Lynch, Mulholland Drive could possibly prove more questions with each repeated viewing and new angles to take it from, that it may become a more interesting viewing on repeated watches.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but I think the thing with Shutter Island is you watch it one time, you think about it, you watch it a second time, you confirm your bias. Then you watch it a third time and you think, oh, actually, could it be the other one? And then each time you watch it, you pick up on different bits subtly. And each time you can end up drawing different conclusions.
That's my personal experience. I understand what you're saying, but again, it kind of goes back to the feeling that maybe with Mulholland Drive, you can take many different interpretations from it. But with Shutter Island, it's either is he or isn't he? It's more one of the two.
Shall we take it to the vote?
Yeah,
I also think with Mulholland Drive, it's what it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks, it's about what you think with the film. Because I think with Shutter Island, it's sort of a little bit more clearer as to what the narrative is about.
Okay, so obviously I'm going to vote for Shutter Island, you're going to vote for Mulholland Drive.
What a surprise.
So,
James,
From you boys.
All right. Surprisingly enough, I've kind of convinced myself into voting for Mulholland Drive.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't expect to, but even just from what I was saying about it, I feel like if we're talking about like a viewing experience and what you can get out of it, I think, even though I haven't seen the film,
I was going to say, must have been a great viewing experience.
Yeah, I know. It's like, I think you could possibly get more from Lynch's filmography in general. You could get more out of repeated viewings than you can with Shutter Island. But that's all I'm going to say from that. Shutter Island's still a great film. I'm not going to slate it anymore.
No, what's his goal in Mulholland Drive?
Sorry.
What's his goal? What does she want?
He does an overhead kick into the net.
I can't really go too deep into this because...
Can you sum it up in a sentence?
So, no, I can't really... You're going to just have to watch the film, mate. And then,
then I pick Shutter Island.
Well, you can't just do that.
But I know what Teddy wants, and I like that from a screenwriting perspective.
Well, then
and now we're back at 30 seconds.
Oh, do you want me to pick Mulholland Drive?
No, I'm happy to do the 30 seconds.
All right, okay, I'll get it up.
And no one gets
to go first. I don't have anything more to say. I
feel like Shutter Island has a tighter narrative.
It's all right. Noah, you can go second if you're going to have some time to think.
But I went first last time. Noah's not gone first yet.
Flip the coin.
Right, okay. Fuck it, go for it.
You sure? All right. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Floor is yours.
So you got over 2 hours of one of the most perfect narrative structure. You've got a film that just completely I can't do this. Fuck it. We'll vote Shutter Island. I don't care.
You got 10 seconds now. You can bring it back if you want.
I just want to go to bed, to be honest. Like, can we do Shutter Island and then we can...
There it is. well, a thrilling argument from Noah.
I mean, you haven't seen Mulholland Drive, so I feel like you can't really vote for it.
Shutter Island wins. It sounds like the narrative is a bit tighter in Shutter Island, which clinches it for me.
Well,
terrible,
if you watched
terrible
it,
argument,
you know.
Jimmy, coming from you, who just said, "Oh, 2001 is the better movie because it doesn't have a bloody narrative."
I think that Noah should have lost when he said it's not about his filmography. Yet his main argument for voting against 2001 was, I would pick a better Stanley Kubrick film.
We're all hypocrites, and it's a critic.
Yeah,
right.
Only hypocrites when it relates to our own picks.
So we are down to our final round.
Final two.
2001: A Space Odyssey. This is Shutter Island.
And guess what? We're doing it in 1 minute each.
I was going to say 1 minute as well.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
That's all you're getting. So, Jimbo, do you want to go first?
Well, I went first last time, for sure. No, I'll go first.
Okay, fine. So
shouldn't it be ladies first?
All right. Well, here we are.
Before.
Yeah, okay.
For this final round, much very similar to the 30-second ones, we're going to give you 1 minute to state your case, and then we all must come to a unanimous decision on who is the winner. So, Jimmy, you're up first. 2001 for the final time. 3, 2, 1.
Well, I don't want to repeat any points I made earlier. So what I think this really comes down to now is legacy. And boy, does 2001 have legacy. If we look at how 2001 shaped the filmmaking scene, look, it came out in 1968. For me, it's like the first modern film ever made. The impact it had, not just within its genre, but on filmmaking in general, it revolutionized practical effects. It changed the way we looked at narrative structure, for example. It changed the visuals people expected to see at the cinema. Nobody expected to see things on film like they saw in 2001: A Space Odyssey before. It has it's such a long-lasting legacy that I just don't think will ever be eclipsed. Probably by any other film. But I think if we look at the impact it's had on filmmaking, objectively, it's probably a bit more than Shutter Island. Did Shutter Island revolutionize the thriller genre? It definitely threw life back into it and did it amazingly well, but I don't think it really.
That's it. That's all you get, Jimbo.
That's fine.
Okay, Emma, moving on to you. The final argument for this final round for Shutter Island for the final time. 3, 2, 1.
So whilst I can't deny that obviously 2001: A Space Odyssey is a fantastic film, I'm here and I'm backing Shutter Island straight into the corner because, you know, it was Scorsese's highest film until Wolf of Wall Street came out, whatever it was, years later down the line. And then we've got to think this is what, 11, came out in 2010, 11 years old. Does anyone know the answer to the question? No, they don't. Never been answered. Everyone disagrees. It's got fantastic set pieces. And like to be fair, you think about the prop design, you're in a prison, it's pretty basic, but then you look at the things around them and, you know, it's all sort of new things. Cinematography we've got going round, we've got the staircase that spirals up, it is the main sort of inspiration for the Inception ending. You know, we're talking about legacy. Everybody loves Inception. Nolan loves Inception. I love Nolan. Nolan loves Shutter Island.
That's it. And thus we come to the end of the arguments for this final round. So what do people think?
I didn't actually know that it was Scorsese's highest grossing film.
Is it really?
Unfortunately, during the explanation, Emma, you just said Scorsese's highest film.
Sorry, I mean it was his highest grossing film.
The best thing was you said it was his highest film until The Wolf of Wall Street, and that is a very high film. So it works very well.
I have a speech impediment, so.
No. People got what you meant.
No, I'm joking. But yeah, I'm happy to lose to 2001. To be fair.
I think that's
what do other people think?
Yeah, what do other people think?
Yeah.
Should we just go straight to a vote?
Yeah, okay, right. All those in favour for 2001 winning? Yeah, it goes 3 against 1. No, 4 all. There you go. 2001. Hey. Hooray.
Hey.
Thank you for watching this incredibly flawed episode.
We need to do a third, fourth playoff. So I think Mulholland Drive deserves third place.
So
Mulholland Drive deserves third place
because do the losers bracket.
It's a superior film to what other fourth place it was.
Right, I put Noah on mute. So to finish our filmmakers bracket royale, our winner is 2001: A Space Odyssey. But do you agree? Do you agree? Let us know.
Agree.
Would you have gone anywhere different? Would you have gone anywhere different? No, I don't think so. She would have chosen Shutter Island. But there we go. Noah, any last words? Well, see us out then, James.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for watching. As always, make sure you subscribe, hit the bell if you can, comment, share, do anything. Please watch our videos. We've been 4 struggling filmmakers. You continue to stay safe. We'll continue to struggle. See you next time. for whatever we're doing next time.
James
Well,
likes to kick off.
Yeah, fucking kick off. Yeah. Right.